As per reports, an Australian Collins-class submarine surfaced in the Aegean Sea last month during what was officially described as routine transit to the Suez Canal. But Turkish naval intelligence watched that submarine conduct coordinated exercises with Greek frigates for 3 days, practicing anti-submarine warfare in waters that Turkey considers strategically vital. The submarine never fired a weapon, never made a threatening move, but its presence sent a message that Turkish military planners understood immediately. If conflict erupts between Greece and Turkey, Athens won't be fighting alone. And the ally that concerns Ankara most isn't the United States or France or any European power. It's a nation 14,000 kilometers away that most people would never associate with Mediterranean security, but that possesses exactly the capabilities that could tip the balance decisively against Turkey. Welcome to Doctrine of War, where we analyze the alliances and strategic partnerships that reshape regional power balances. The Greece-Australia defense relationship is one of the least understood but most significant developments in Mediterranean security, and it represents a strategic nightmare for Turkish military planners who suddenly face the prospect of fighting not just Greek forces but an alliance that includes one of the most capable middle powers in the world. Today we're examining why this partnership formed, what military capabilities Australia brings that fundamentally change the Greek-Turkish balance, and why Ankara views this alliance as an existential threat to Turkish regional ambitions. And what you're about to discover is that geography isn't destiny. Sometimes the most important allies are the ones nobody expected. The strategic logic. Why Australia and Greece found common cause against Turkey. To understand why Australia has become Greece's most important strategic partner outside of traditional European alliances, you need to understand what both countries need and what they face. Greece confronts an increasingly aggressive Turkey that outmatches Greek military power in almost every conventional metric. Larger population, bigger economy, more tanks, more aircraft, more ships. Turkey under Erdogan has abandoned Kemalist secularism and embraced neo-Ottoman nationalism that explicitly challenges the post-World War I settlement that created modern Turkey's borders. This isn't just rhetoric. Turkey has conducted military operations in Syria, Libya, Iraq, and the Eastern Mediterranean that demonstrate willingness to use force to achieve strategic objectives. And Turkish claims on Greek islands, continental shelf rights, and airspace create constant friction that could escalate into armed conflict at any moment. Greece's traditional allies provide limited reassurance. The United States maintains close ties with both Greece and Turkey as NATO members and has historically been unwilling to definitively take sides in Aegean disputes. France has been more supportive, selling weapons and conducting exercises with Greece, but French power is limited and French political will to actually fight Turkey on Greece's behalf is questionable. Germany prioritizes maintaining Turkey as a migration buffer and economic partner, often leaving Greece isolated in EU forums when Greek-Turkish tensions rise. And the broader European Union, while nominally supporting Greece as a member state, lacks both military capability and political unity to serve as credible deterrent against Turkish aggression. Greece needed a partner with genuine military capability, political will to stand against Turkish expansion, and strategic interests that aligned with Greek security without the conflicted loyalties that characterize Greece's relationships with traditional Western allies. Australia, meanwhile, was conducting a comprehensive reassessment of its strategic environment and alliance relationships. The rise of China as an aggressive Indo-Pacific power meant that Australia could no longer assume its geographic isolation provided security. Australian strategy recognized the need for forward presence and partnerships that would allow Australia to operate beyond its immediate region, build alliance networks that could support Australia in crisis, and demonstrate that Australian power had global reach rather than being confined to the South Pacific. The Eastern Mediterranean offered exactly that opportunity, a strategically vital region where Australian presence would be noticed and valued, where partnerships with like-minded democracies could be built, and where Australia could gain operational experience and access that would pay dividends in potential future conflicts. The Greek-Australian connection runs deeper than just strategic convenience. There's a genuine historical and cultural foundation built on shared sacrifice at Gallipoli during World War I, where Australian and New Zealand forces fought alongside Greeks against Ottoman Turks in a campaign that both nations remember as defining moments in their national histories. That shared history creates emotional bonds and political support for partnership that pure strategic calculation alone couldn't generate. The substantial Greek diaspora in Australia, particularly in Melbourne, which has one of the largest Greek populations outside of Greece itself, creates domestic political constituencies that support close Greek-Australian relations and ensure that partnership has staying power beyond individual governments or temporary strategic alignments. But here's what transforms this from historical friendship into strategic partnership that genuinely concerns Turkey: the specific military capabilities that Australia brings to the equation. Australia isn't just offering diplomatic support or symbolic gestures. Australia is providing access to some of the most sophisticated military capabilities in the Indo-Pacific, offering training and operational cooperation that enhances Greek military effectiveness, and signaling willingness to operate in the Eastern Mediterranean in ways that complicate Turkish strategic calculations. Australian naval vessels, including sophisticated destroyers and submarines, have become regular visitors to Greek ports and participants in Greek naval exercises. Australian intelligence sharing gives Greece access to surveillance and analytical capabilities that Greece's own systems don't provide. And Australian defence industry cooperation provides Greece with access to advanced technologies and weapons systems that diversify Greece away from complete dependence on European suppliers. The timing of this partnership's intensification matters enormously. As Turkey has become more aggressive and more willing to challenge Greek sovereignty claims, Greece has been conducting its own military modernization program designed specifically to deter Turkish aggression. Greece has purchased French Rafale fighters, upgraded its frigate fleet, invested in air defense systems, and generally transformed Greek military capabilities with the explicit goal of making any Turkish military operation against Greek territory so costly that Ankara wouldn't attempt it. Australia's partnership with Greece fits perfectly into this strategy. It's another capability enhancement, another source of advanced technology and operational expertise, and another signal to Turkey that Greek defense isn't just about Greek forces but about an increasingly robust network of partners willing to support Greek security. If you're starting to see why Turkey views the Greece-Australia partnership as more threatening than it might initially appear, why the presence of an Australian submarine in the Aegean isn't just a navigation exercise but a strategic statement, you're understanding exactly the kind of alliance dynamics that Doctrine of War exists to analyze. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we're about to break down the specific military capabilities Australia brings to Greek defense and why these capabilities are precisely the ones that most concern Turkish military planners. This isn't about flag-waving or symbolic support. This is about real combat power that changes the regional military balance. The economic dimension of the partnership adds another layer beyond pure military cooperation. Greek shipping companies, which control a significant percentage of global maritime trade, have extensive relationships with Australian resource exports. This creates economic interdependencies that reinforce strategic partnership. Greece relies on Australian liquefied natural gas and other resources, while Australia benefits from Greek shipping expertise and maritime logistics networks. These economic ties aren't just business relationships. They create shared interest in maintaining free navigation, opposing maritime coercion, and ensuring that energy supplies flow without disruption from hostile powers. When Turkey threatens to block Greek access to undersea resources in the Eastern Mediterranean, it's not just threatening Greek interests. It's threatening an economic relationship that extends to Australia and other partners who depend on energy security and freedom of navigation. The intelligence sharing dimension is perhaps the most significant but least visible element of the partnership. Australia operates sophisticated signals intelligence capabilities, satellite surveillance systems, and analytical expertise that rivals much larger nations. Australian intelligence services share information with Greek counterparts about Turkish military activities, foreign influence operations, and regional security threats. This intelligence sharing makes Greek military planning more effective, provides early warning of Turkish activities, and generally ensures that Greece isn't operating blind against a larger adversary. And because Australia operates in the Indo-Pacific where different intelligence collection opportunities exist, Australian intelligence can sometimes provide insights about Turkish partnerships with other nations, Chinese military technical cooperation with Turkey, Russian arms sales, Middle Eastern political relationships, that European intelligence services might miss or deprioritize. Military capabilities and operational cooperation, what Australia brings to Greek defense. Now let's examine the specific military capabilities that Australia provides to this partnership and why they matter so much for the Greek-Turkish balance. This isn't about Australia deploying massive forces to permanently station in Greece. It's about specific, high-value capabilities that Australia possesses and can make available to Greek forces in ways that fundamentally complicate Turkish operational planning and provide Greece with capabilities that Athens couldn't develop or acquire elsewhere. Australian submarine capabilities represent perhaps the single most significant contribution to Greek naval power. Australia operates Collins-class diesel-electric submarines that are among the quietest and most capable conventional submarines in the world. These boats can operate in the confined waters of the Aegean Sea and Eastern Mediterranean, conducting surveillance of Turkish naval activities, threatening Turkish surface vessels, and generally creating an underwater threat that Turkish forces must continuously defend against. Turkish anti-submarine warfare capabilities are limited. The Turkish Navy focuses primarily on surface combatants and has invested less in the specialized capabilities necessary to hunt and destroy modern submarines in complex acoustic environments like the Aegean. An Australian submarine operating in coordination with Greek naval forces creates a threat that Turkish planners must take seriously but struggle to effectively counter. The operational implications are profound. If Turkish forces attempted naval operations to seize disputed islands or enforce Turkish territorial claims, they would need to operate knowing that submarines, both Greek and potentially Australian, could be hunting their vessels. Modern torpedoes can sink even large warships with single hits, and submarines are extraordinarily difficult to detect and destroy before they strike. The presence of Australian submarines, even occasionally and in limited numbers, forces Turkey to deploy anti-submarine warfare assets, maintain higher states of readiness, and generally operate with the kind of caution that undermines the rapid, decisive operations that Turkish military doctrine emphasizes. And the psychological effect matters. Turkish naval officers know that Australian submarine crews are among the best trained in the world, operating boats specifically designed for the kind of shallow, complex water operations that characterize the Aegean, with intelligence support that tells them exactly where to position for maximum effect. Australian air warfare capabilities complement Greek air power in ways that create serious problems for Turkish planning. While Australia isn't deploying F-35 fighters to Greek bases permanently, Australian pilots have trained with Greek forces, sharing tactics and procedures that enhance Greek operational effectiveness. More significantly, Australia operates advanced air warfare systems including the E-7A Wedgetail airborne early warning and control aircraft, essentially airborne radar and command posts that can detect aircraft and coordinate air operations across vast areas. Australia has deployed these aircraft to the Middle East for previous operations, demonstrating willingness to operate sophisticated capabilities far from Australian territory. The possibility of Australian air warfare capabilities supporting Greek operations creates planning complications for Turkey. Suddenly Turkish air forces can't assume they're just facing Greek capabilities with known limitations, but potentially facing integrated air operations with Australian systems that provide capabilities Turkish forces don't possess equivalents for. The maritime patrol and surveillance capabilities that Australia can provide fill critical gaps in Greek coverage. Australia operates P-8A Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft equipped with sophisticated sensors that can track surface ships, detect submarines, and provide maritime domain awareness across enormous areas. These aircraft have operated in the Mediterranean region previously during counter-terrorism and maritime security operations, demonstrating that Australian willingness to deploy these capabilities isn't just theoretical. For Greece, which struggles to maintain constant surveillance over the vast maritime spaces of the Eastern Mediterranean and Aegean Sea, access to Australian maritime patrol capabilities provides the persistent awareness necessary to detect Turkish naval activities early and position Greek forces for effective response. Turkish naval operations depend heavily on achieving surprise or at least ambiguity about intentions. Australian surveillance capabilities undermine that advantage. Australian naval surface combatants represent another significant capability that changes the regional balance. Australia operates 3 Hobart-class air warfare destroyers equipped with the Aegis combat system and SM-2 surface-to-air missiles, the same integrated air defense system that the U.S. Navy uses and that represents the gold standard for fleet air defense. These ships can detect and engage aircraft and anti-ship missiles at long ranges, providing area air defense that protects not just themselves but other vessels operating nearby. A single Australian destroyer operating with Greek naval forces would provide air defense capabilities that the Greek Navy's frigates can't match, creating a defensive umbrella that would complicate Turkish air and missile strikes against Greek naval forces. And because these ships are fully interoperable with U.S. Navy systems and trained to NATO standards, they can integrate seamlessly into combined operations in ways that maximize overall force effectiveness. The special operations and training cooperation between Australian and Greek forces builds capabilities that matter enormously in potential conflict scenarios. Australian Special Forces, particularly the Special Air Service Regiment and Commandos, are among the most elite units in the world with extensive combat experience from Afghanistan and other operations. These forces have conducted training exchanges with Greek special forces, sharing tactics for maritime operations, island defense, counterterrorism, and the specialized skills that special operations require. In any conflict scenario involving disputed Aegean islands, special forces would play critical roles, seizing or defending key terrain, conducting reconnaissance, striking high-value targets. Greek special forces enhanced by training with Australian counterparts represent more formidable capabilities than Turkey can assume it faces, and this matters in the kind of small-scale, high-stakes operations that could easily trigger broader conflicts. Australian defence industry and technology cooperation provides Greece with access to capabilities that diversify Greek defence procurement beyond European suppliers who might face political pressure to limit support during Greek-Turkish crises. Australia produces advanced naval radars through CA technologies, unmanned systems, military communications equipment, and specialized defence technologies. Greek interest in Australian defence products isn't just about buying equipment. It's about building partnerships with suppliers who aren't subject to EU political dynamics and who share Greek strategic interests in ways that ensure continued support even during conflicts that might make European suppliers hesitant. This diversification means that Greece isn't completely dependent on the goodwill of European partners who have their own complicated relationships with Turkey. The cyber and electronic warfare dimension represents capabilities where Australia possesses advanced expertise that benefits Greek operations. Australian signals intelligence and cyber capabilities, developed partly through Five Eyes intelligence sharing arrangements, provide sophisticated tools for monitoring communications, disrupting enemy networks and protecting friendly systems. In modern conflict, cyber operations would be critical from the opening moments, disrupting command and control, corrupting data, degrading early warning systems. Australian cooperation in building Greek cyber defense capabilities and potentially providing operational support during crises gives Greece tools to defend against Turkish cyber attacks and potentially conduct offensive cyber operations that degrade Turkish military effectiveness. Here's what all these capabilities add up to. Australia provides Greece with specific high-value military capabilities that Greek forces lack or possess in insufficient quantities, delivered by a partner whose commitment isn't constrained by conflicted NATO loyalties or EU political dynamics. Turkey can't assume that conflict with Greece is simply a matter of overwhelming Greek forces through superior numbers and firepower. Turkey must plan for scenarios where Greek forces operate with Australian submarine support, with Australian maritime surveillance providing early warning, with Australian air defence systems protecting Greek naval forces, with Australian intelligence revealing Turkish plans, and with Australian special forces having trained Greek counterparts in the specialized skills that could determine outcomes in island combat scenarios. Every one of these Australian capabilities makes Turkish military operations more difficult, more costly, and less likely to succeed quickly enough to present the international community with a fait accompli before diplomatic intervention freezes the conflict. The political signaling dimension matters as much as the concrete capabilities. When Australian warships visit Greek ports, when Australian submarines transit the Aegean, when Australian and Greek forces conduct exercises, the message to Turkey is clear: Greece isn't alone and Greek security matters to partners beyond the immediate region. This creates deterrence not just through the specific forces present but through the uncertainty about how far Australia would go in supporting Greece during an actual crisis. Would Australia deploy submarines to actively oppose Turkish naval operations? Would Australian intelligence provide targeting data for Greek strikes on Turkish forces? Would Australian diplomatic support rally broader international opposition to Turkish aggression? Turkey doesn't know the answers with certainty, and that uncertainty creates caution that might not exist if Turkey only faced Greek forces with predictable capabilities and no reliable allies. That's the analysis for today on Doctrine of War. If this examination of the Greece-Australia alliance and its implications for regional security gave you new understanding of how middle powers create strategic leverage through partnership, let us know in the comments. Do you think Australia would actually fight alongside Greece against Turkey? What capabilities matter most in deterring Turkish aggression? And if you want more analysis of the alliances and partnerships that reshape regional power balances, subscribe and turn on notifications. We're covering the strategic relationships that determine who wins conflicts before they start. The Greece-Australia partnership represents a new model for alliance politics, not the traditional Cold War structure of superpower patron and dependent client, but genuine partnership between capable middle powers who bring complementary strengths to address shared threats. Greece brings geographic position, local knowledge, and forces optimized for Aegean and Eastern Mediterranean operations. Australia brings advanced capabilities, global operational experience, and the kind of political independence that makes it reliable when traditional allies might equivocate. Together they create a military balance in the Eastern Mediterranean that's far more favorable to Greece than the raw numbers of Greek versus Turkish forces would suggest. And that's exactly why Turkey fears this alliance more than any other development in regional security, because it transforms what looked like inevitable Turkish regional dominance into a genuine contest where outcomes are uncertain. Until next time, stay strategic.